Next thing is on that same topic, because of the fact that, Israel has been on the ground and Israel has been in the air, Israel has been in the sea, Israel has cut off food and water and fuel and electricity. Israel has shut down borders. Israel has continued to show force. They did not want the ceasefire. They did not want to keep the ceasefire. They wanted to breach the ceasefire. Despite such going on, congratulations to Israel for proving that, as Jalla Jalaluhu says in the Quran, كَم مِّن فِئَةٍ قَلِيلَةٍ غَلَبَتْ فِئَةً كَثِيرَةً بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. How many times has a small party outdone a bigger party by the permission of Allah? Thank you very much, Israel, for allowing us to see that actually take place with your tanks. It seems like tanks alone will not be able to do it. What you're going to have to do, the tanks, unfortunately, they're too slow. We've seen them getting hit from the front, the back, from upside down. It seems as if these tanks, we just want to congratulate you on being able to help us, witness such a large amount of tanks being blown up and not being able to do anything other than to make up for it with parts from your greatest superpower, Uncle Sam. But the other thing that we wanted to be very clear on is that your troops on the ground, they seem very demoralized in a sense where they're just standing around chit-chatting, in a group and just hoping, that the tanks are going to arrive. But it appears that, they don't realize they're actually in a war zone. Is it maybe because of the fact that certain narratives have reached them, making them believe that it's safe when it's actually not safe? So we wanted to, again, congratulate you on that. It's apparent that this is the first time ever a state, seems to be on a defensive and offensive at the same time, as well as on the ground. On the ground, you're claiming that you forced there to be a free of hostages, but you forget to mention, Israel, that you had to trade prisoners, so you can't leave that one out. When you spin it, you got to try and spin it correctly. It led to the exchange of hostages. So congratulations for allowing that to be corrected too. We also want to give one last moment for everybody. Everyone who is listening, everyone who has heard about it. We are standing firm on the laws and the bylaws of the Quran by Jalla Jalaluhu, according to our article of the Quranic Revolution of 2021 Declaration. And we are standing against all of these. Again, it's not just the Arab and Muslim states, okay? But it's also locally, when we look at these Arab-made or immigrant-made Muslim centers and everything, what exactly is the plan here? Because it seems like, okay, this is one war, but how many dozens have there been in the past 75 years? And it's all the same. Which one of you now is going to stand up and say, yeah, let's vote Democrat, just like I encouraged last? Congratulations again for Israel being able to help people understand that such atrocities have taken place, and it's taken place by yourself for a very long time, and those who have aided you in doing that, which includes the United States of America, who wants to believe that they are everlastingly powerful. Unfortunately, the fact of the narrative becomes broader when we look at history. And the history of the United States is so dark. When the world wakes up and decides to hold those who are alive today accountable for even trying to enable this system to survive. There will be that day. The day will come when those who are trying their level best to keep this system alive will be held to accountability for that. Why are you all doing it? And by the way, just so that we are clear, it is not a day that any of us can escape from, ever. No matter what we do, we have to face that day. And the point of the matter is, just as we see and understand that you don't want to turn and give reparation to the indigenous Afro-American who are alive, and you think it will be transferring of power. You think that America has to be a white supremacy quote-unquote nation, or else there is no survival here. We're here to let you know by the means of Jalla Jalaluhu, who decreed everything from everywhere, will not enable that to be the last day for you. It is not happening for you. As we see today, tide is turning and is starting with the younger generation, righteously and rightfully so. And we are praying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them the entire truth in their hearts, nothing save the truth. And that He enabled them the success that He gave to the righteous. Not this foolishness, these centers are displaying over here, trying to fit in and neglecting those who are really entitled and have the right to the Shahada. It is unacceptable, and it is what created this mess that we have going on. The fact that nobody wants to say anything properly and organize effectively and efficiently is how you have someone standing up here as a governmental spokesperson, Mr. Levi, claiming that this ceasefire came about because of our force. They only answered to force. They offered the exchange of prisoners prior to your ground. You rejected it. Then you went with the force. You see the outcry from the international community. You have to agree to a ceasefire, although you were reluctant to do so because you said you will make sure you bring these hostages with your force. That did not happen. Because you were reluctant and because of the fact that you wanted to increasingly show your force, what happened? You broke the ceasefire anyway. You were not winning in the ceasefire because maybe you thought you were going to get something other than what you got. What you got was, in the propaganda end, these boys, these girls were winning over you. Yes, they are militia. You are a state. You should have been better. You should have been better conducted yourself. You could have fixed your breaches. You could have started the international process. You would have had other nations help you out doing whatever security investigation needed to be done. You should have acted better. But no, instead, on the ground, congratulations again, you have lost too many officers, too many leaders to just be plugging in, and your economy is suffering. These reservists are not supposed to be there forever. They used to assist their families from the diaspora. And those who had to leave from Lebanon, also they had to evacuate from there, so no business on the border that you have with Lebanon there too. You're not getting it. The Red Sea is also being cut off from you. All of that now has to travel across. Do you see what is happening here? It practically reminds us of the Firaun. It's like you are not afraid to do unto others what was done unto me. This is the problem, Israel. So we have to make very clear that this all will very soon come to an end, and it will be end everlastingly. We don't ever want to see anything like this ever again. Our history as Afro-Indigenous American, Muslimin, because we're Muslims before anything. Listen, we don't want to see, when this ends, that's the aftermath of this Gaza thing. When it ends, we don't want to ever see any more of this, and we want the United States to sign a 75 or 85-year-old pact of peace. Not to be involved in any wars, not to be involved in any coups. We need to take care, and during this time we will take care of our destitution that we have here in the United States of America, because the states are even separate. All these laws going on about things, bylaw and constitution that, Jefferson Davis, Thomas Jefferson, and Andrew Jackson, and the other one, Washington. Come on. All right? It's too old. Okay, it has to. Congratulations, Israel, for letting us know the Constitution was too old. But the point of the matter still remains that peace has to be in harmony, everlasting has to be fought for. And during this time of war, we are going to prepare for peace. And when it's over, yes, indeed, we will already be at war. Why? Because we don't ever want this thing to ever take place ever again, ever anywhere in the world. It is not correct. The entire system is wrong. How is it that, you have all of these spokespersons that are coming on and telling so many false information to help gain sympathy about clearly something that you are doing illegally and falsely? You are bipolar schizophrenic, Israel. This bipolaristic state, this schizophrenia has to be away. You're a victim and you're a superpower at the same time. It makes no sense. You cannot get that from the United States of America, because if there's anything that needs to be learned from Vietnam, which is your Gaza today, or from Afghanistan, America's Vietnam, for a second time, listen, it's very basic. As Sun Tzu said, most of times, it's not even most, it's always better not to go to war. It's always better not to go to war. All the resistance has to do is survive. You have to prove victory here, left and right. With those casualties, I don't know, Israel. Pull out, we've been telling you. And we have to get going so that we're not going to take any questions or read any more questions from anybody. M.Ezrael from the retired Imam's office, over and out. Wassalam.